Sometimes survival mode stops feeling temporary, and it starts feeling just like who you are now. This reading is about that situation, where it's less like burnout and more quietly exhausted while you're holding everything together constantly. When that exhaustion starts feeling normal, this is the wisdom the cards have for us. The card in the first position shows you what survival mode has cost you emotionally. First, let's look at her. This is the Queen of Wands. I know whenever I see her, I feel drawn to her eyes. She's got this resolute, leveled stare. Not unfriendly, just like she knows what's going on. Her cat, looking the same way. Her eyes belie the confidence that she carries. She's not a pushover. She's very strong, independent. Cats are also symbols of independence in the tarot. The yellow sunflowers around her indicate warmth and generosity. She's not cold. The Queen of Wands in this position shows us that the emotional cost of living in survival mode is losing that strong independence and warm nature balance. So because survival mode is pressing you so hard, you're kind of losing the realness of who you are in the middle of all of it. The card in the second position tells us what's keeping you locked into having to overfunction, what's basically driving you into this survival mode. And it's not a card that most people want to see in their reading. It's death. If we look at the symbolism of the card itself, we have a skull split into pieces of black and white and full color. The black and white pieces represent decay and, death, the things that you normally think about with death. But then the full color with its flowers is showing what happens after that renewal process. Death usually shows us that change is coming and that it's natural. Every being in the world eventually dies. And so they return to the earth and they provide for new life to emerge. Death in this position, talking about keeping you locked into the overfunctioning, suggests that you may be over-focused on losing the status quo. What happens if you lose what you know, even if it's so detrimental to you? The present may not be great, but there's fear over what comes next if it's not this. What happens if it's worse than this? We don't know what happens. The card in this third position examines what your exhaustion that you're feeling is really trying to tell you here. And for this, we see the Three of Swords. Looking at the card itself, we see a dark and stormy setting for the background, and two birds in the foreground that have been pierced by swords. This is painful and pointy. It's often tied to heartache or betrayal when you're doing a reading that's not like this, but it's also indicative of dark times in general, feeling down or depressed. You're exhausted because of the past betrayal or hurt that you've been holding on to, and it's preventing you from moving forward. Your darkness has gone on too long. Your body and spirit are trying to tell you this right now by sending you this card. It's time to pull the swords out of yourself and mend. You have to move so you can get out of this survival mode trap that you're in. The card in the fourth position is going to be the card that brings us resolution to this whole matter. It's going to allow you to think about what recovery from being in survival mode can actually look like now. And the card that shows up for us is the Nine of Wands. Let's look specifically at this card. We have the clouds, the dark and stormy ones from the Three of Swords. They're clearing. You still are going to have a lot on your plate. I mean, you're carrying 9 wands in this, right? But you're managing by doing one task at a time, putting one brick on that wall over and over again. The fox character in the foreground is wounded, but he's standing his ground. He's not moving. He says, I didn't come through this process unscathed, but I am still standing. Just like this Fox character who stands his ground when he's cornered by life, stuck in survival mode, this card is asking you to stick up for yourself and your own interests for once. You do have what it takes to survive these battles, even if it's hard, and it likely will be. So if we look at the spread as an entire picture of worrying about survival mode becoming your personality, it starts with what this whole thing is costing you. The Queen of Wands shows us it's costing you who you really are inside, this great balance of somebody who's fiercely independent, but also warm. Your complexity as a person has kind of been squished by having to just survive. Death shows us that you're kept into over-functioning in this situation because you're worried about what comes next if not this. Maybe you've been in this situation for so long, you have no idea what it looks like if you're not there. That's kind of scary, but I think that you need to know that your exhaustion's trying to tell you via the Three of Swords, all the stuff that you're holding on to is preventing you from moving forward. So you have to pull the swords out so that you can go forward. And then finally, recovery is going to be possible for you. You are going to come out of this on the other side. You might be a little beaten and broken and worse for the weather in the short term, but you're still standing, and that's amazing. If this reading has been helpful to you, please comment down below what kind of clarity it brought. My name is A. It's wonderful to be here with you via Rose and Ritual. Keep coming back for more clarity just like this from the cards about some of life's hardest challenges.